Turning back to that breaking news out of Chicago, Customs and Border Protection says agents were shot at while conducting an immigration enforcement operation earlier today. Cameras from our Fox affiliate were there in the aftermath of the shooting. That's the video currently on your screen. There have been weeks of tension in Chicago over the Trump administration's crackdown on illegal immigration, amid a legal battle over whether the White House can send the National Guard there. Former acting ICE Director Jonathan Fahey is with us. Jonathan, so a black Jeep apparently speeds by a bunch of ICE officers. Shots are fired and the Jeep speeds off. What's your reaction?
You know, I want to say it would be shocking or something else, but I feel like with all of this rhetoric and all this what's been going on in the last several months with this rhetoric, political rhetoric directed at ICE agents, directed at CBP, it's not surprising that the level of violence against them has risen. And something like this, and even something worse than this, are bound to happen because of the rhetoric. And the unfortunate thing is these ICE agents are simply doing a job that they're required to do. And these politicians are, elevating themselves, their status within the Democratic Party by essentially tacitly supporting this type of activity.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. With the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we are headed back on over to the People's Republic of Chicago. Why is that? Because, ladies and gentlemen, we have treasonous men and women in the military, U.S. military, that have come out and stated that if the National Guard is deployed to the streets of Chicago to protect the men and women of that city, they will not deploy. They will stand down and allow criminal illegal migrants that are designated terrorists, right? MS-13, foreign national terrorists, TREASON, who are foreign national terrorists, as well as Mexican cartels that are designated as foreign national terrorists. This is what Operation Midway Blitz is all about, getting these people off the streets, and assistance could be needed from the National Guard, especially when you're talking about keeping those at bay who are essentially terrorist sympathizers, right? They call themselves anti-ICE protesters, but when you're protesting ICE in order to keep MS-13, TREASON, and cartel terrorists in the country, I mean, at that point, you're just a terrorist sympathizer, are you not? So we need the National Guard in Chicago to protect ICE against these lunatics that consistently get in the way. But we have these National Guardsmen that we're going to get into right now who are refusing to follow orders if they are told to deploy onto the streets of Chicago. I want to establish something very quickly first. Look at this here. Let's establish what treason actually is. Okay, let's establish that very quickly. Treason is the crime of betraying one's country by waging war against it or giving its enemies aid and comfort. What do you think these people are doing when they're protesting against ICE, when all they're trying to do is get rid of these designated terrorists? MS-13, TREASON, cartel members, these are terrorists, ladies and gentlemen. Are they not giving aid and comfort? When you're refusing to deploy, if you're giving the orders to, as a National Guardsman, are you not giving aid and comfort? That's a question for you guys to answer in the comment section below. And let's get into this clip here.
But active duty Illinois Guardsman Captain Dylan Blaha and Staff Sergeant Demi Palecek say this is not what they signed up for, and it's an order they're willing to defy. Palecek's mother is originally from Mexico.
If you were activated to the Chicago mission, would you defy orders?
Absolutely. I would definitely say no.
Tell me why.
I mean, I'm not going to go against my community members, my family, and my culture.
Stop. She's not going against her family, her community, but most importantly, her culture. She prioritizes Mexico over the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, she's prioritizing her Mexican culture over the safety of the United States of America. Okay? Her loyalty is clearly not to the United States, it's to Mexico. That's where her loyalty lies. And she told on herself just now by saying, I'm not going to turn against my culture. You might have been able to skate by if you said, I'm not going to turn against my family. I guess you might be able to skate by if you said, I'm not going to turn on my community. I mean, that's kind of broad. That can mean a lot of things. It doesn't justify treason, but okay. But as soon as you said, I'm not going to turn against my culture, I see. I see who you are. Your loyalty is to Mexico, not the United States of America. And these are the people that we have in our armed forces. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And this is actually very alarming, extremely alarming. But let's let these people carry on.
My community members, my family, and my culture, my neighbors.
You are both members of the National Guard. You don't want to see your fellow soldiers in your city.
No.
I think a lot of Americans would be shocked to hear that.
I mean, I wish that Americans would talk to other National Guard members, because all of my soldiers do not want to be activated and are scared, and their families are in hiding.
Are you surprised?
Why are their families in hiding? You see what I'm saying? What do you mean, and their families are in hiding? How many people do we have in the U.S. military whose allegiance lies to another nation? I mean, we really have to start asking that question at this point, because clearly your allegiance is not to the United States of America. Clearly it's not. What does that even mean? And their family members are hiding? Wow. Has our American military been completely and fully infiltrated by those who have their allegiance to another nation? That's the question that we have to start asking, because what she's saying, once again, is extremely alarming. But let's let her continue.
National Guard members, because all of my soldiers do not want to be activated and are scared, and their families are in hiding.
Are you surprised more people haven't spoken out?
I am a little surprised, but after speaking out, I understand why no one wants to do it.
We were trained to stand up for what we believe in and stand up for the American people, the Constitution. It's crazy because I figured other people would speak out right now, and it's crazy to think, oh wow, it needs to be us because nobody else is.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I stated earlier, this is extremely alarming to me. Let me know, am I doing too much? Am I looking too deeply into this? Is it not alarming? Is this not treason, what we're hearing right now? Does it not sound as if we have apparently thousands of people, men and women that are in the U.S. military, whose allegiance lies to another nation, but are serving in our military and possibly have the same mindset as these two, that if they're told to deploy, they won't do it? This is very alarming to me. But on top of this being very alarming, it's also extremely disgusting, because it goes to show how fake, fraudulent, and hypocritical Democrats actually are. What do I mean by that? Where am I going with this? Well, when you come back to these two individuals here, let's put them on the screen. When you come back to these two here, Lord have mercy, these people are fake. God, look at this. Surprise, surprise. Look at what we have here. So Dylan Blaha, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. He was the man that was sitting in his seat next to the woman that were talking about committing treason. And for some that are sympathizers to terrorists, they might feel like they're committing a great act. They're doing what they have to do despite all odds, even risking getting thrown in jail by defying orders. But these people stay fake, phony, and corrupt because they don't care about their community like they say they do. This is all just a ploy to get attention for their campaigns to get into Congress. Look at this man here. Democrat for Congress, Dylan Blaha, if that's how you say his name. Look at what he wrote here. This system isn't working for working people. Oh, we got a Zorhan Mandani here, right? The system isn't working for working people. Let's stop giving tax breaks to billionaires Oh boy, and corporations, and start making America affordable for the rest of us. Yeah, we have a Zoran Mamdani here. We have a Brandon Johnson here who's serving in our military, talking about committing treason. But at the end of the day, he's fake. This is all about getting exposure for his political campaign. And surprise, surprise, Demi's doing the same thing. What's her name? Demi Palecek. Look at what we have here. Demi Palecek, Democrat for state representative, 13th district. Leadership backed by action. I'm not going to sit here and read her nonsense bio because it really doesn't matter. What matters is that not only does it appear that we have those within our U.S. military whose loyalty lies to another nation, but even worse than that, we have those that will play with and promote the idea of treason for their own personal gain. Because what happens with stuff like this, because most people don't know that these people have campaigns that they're running because they're nobodies at the end of the day, right? These two are nobodies. People don't even know they're running a campaign. But what happens is that with people like this is that they will inspire others to follow suit who may not be running a political campaign, but just saying, hey, I'm not going to deploy if I'm told to. And then next thing you know, as usual, when it comes to these DNC lunatics, because you're goofy, following behind lunatics like this, you're going to be given a direct order as a military man, and you're not going to follow it. And guess what? You're going to be the one that gets a dishonorable discharge, if not worse than that. And where are these people when that happens to you? Because I guarantee you, while they're running their campaigns, they're not thinking about any of their military brothers and sisters who may fall into the snares of their nonsense, thinking that they're freedom fighting, but end up just getting a dishonorable discharge from the U.S. military, losing all their benefits, all the time they spent in the military, just out the window. People drinking the DNC Kool-Aid, following behind idiots like this who don't care about you, but because you follow behind them, outside of the dishonorable discharge, those of you who aren't in the military, we've discussed this so many times over, they risk their life. Some of them have lost it, thinking that they're freedom fighters. They risk their freedom. Many have lost it and are on the verge of losing it by getting hit with federal charges because they're attacking ICE agents, following behind disingenuous people like this. She's weaponizing the U.S. military. She's weaponizing her culture. She's playing with the idea of treason, all for her own political gain, power, and wealth. She just wants a little taste of that power, and she just wants some more money in her pocket at whatever cost. And with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for today's news. So please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And please do not forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegrams in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.